Right, mate, so today the inspiration for this video is a 17-year-old boy that I worked with about 7 to 8 months ago. Now, long story short, this 17-year-old boy had a few family breakdowns going on at home, ended up in accommodation where for the first time in his life, he would basically be answerable to himself. He'd be taking responsibility for himself and not be kind of guided by his parents for the first time. Now, when I first met him, he was smoking a lot of weed. He wasn't in education and he didn't have a job. 8 months down the line, nothing has changed. He still doesn't have a job, he's still not in education, and he's smoking a lot of weed. Now, what's interesting about this is that he has tried to quit on a few occasions, but always falls back into it. Always falls into, yeah, I'm gonna try and quit. I don't really need to smoke anymore. But then you ask him about it like a couple of weeks later and he'll say, yeah, I was just with the boys and everyone was smoking, so I thought I'd do it as well. Mate, one thing that I want you to think about before I even go into the rest of this video is that if you have tried to quit something multiple times, does that not give you an indication that it might be bad for you? And that actually, if you try to quit it multiple times and you haven't succeeded, that it does actually have a grip on you. But you can talk to this boy and he'll say, no, mate, I smoke when I want to, it doesn't have a grip on me. But I think that idea that 6 to 8 months later, he's still in the same position that he was when I first met him, that speaks volumes for weed in itself. And this can go for other addictions, but I'm going to talk about weed specifically today. The reason that this is so difficult and so painful for young men is that weed stops you from taking the difficult decisions in life. When you smoke weed, it's too easy for you to feel comfortable and secure with everything that's going on around you, and you're not going to be able to push yourself to do the difficult things that are going to pay off for you down the line. Weed's one of those things where I think the narrative means it's too easy for people to say, oh, it's just a herb, it's harmless, no one ever died from weed. But the reality is, mate, I think it's holding a hell of a lot of people back from achieving their best potential. Think about this. You're at home on your own and your plan is to smoke some weed because that's what you do as part of the routine at the end of the day at work. Imagine the alternative where instead of smoking weed, you allowed yourself to simply sit in a room on your own without any stimulation, so no TV, no phone, no nothing, and for an hour you did that to recharge instead. I read a quote in a book. It was by the guy that authored the Robert Greene. And he said that the best ideas come from sitting alone in a room, staring at your wall when you've got no other distractions around you and you can just think about the things that matter to you. So what might happen is that you might pick up a book that's been staring at you from your shelf for months. You might have an idea about a business or a service that you can provide. Most importantly, you will be focused on you and what you want to achieve in the future. Brother, if you smoke weed, none of that's going to happen. You're going to slip into those healthy, comfortable habits, smoking weed day after day, telling yourself you're not addicted, but a day doesn't seem to go by when you can't smoke weed. And then boom, all of a sudden, 8 months has gone by and you're like my boy that I'm talking about, where he's in the same position that he was when I first met him. Mate, in life, to be successful, we kind of do have to accept the fact that we're going to have to do the hard work when we don't feel like it. But if we're going to be smoking weed, we are never going to feel like doing the hard work. If you need some help with leaving this lifestyle behind, I'm going to add some links in the description for my UK-based subscribers. And I hope that this message today has helped give you something to think about when it comes to how weed impacts your life as a young man.